People don't believe it can happen to them. It's like the farthest thing from your mind that you could possibly forget your child. I believe that it happens to most people because of a change in routine. You don't realize how quickly the temperature increases in a car, and you don't realize that little babies cannot regulate body temperature to the same level as adults. So what may seem okay to you is going to be very harmful to a small baby. But I think for most people, it's a change in routine. They obviously didn't intend to ever harm their child. It's the worst thing that can happen.
You know, we're a normal family.
It's something that can happen to anyone. Good parents, loving grandparents, loving caretakers, it can happen.
Each one of us thought the other had brought Sarah inside from the house, but neither one of us had. And as a result, she stayed in the van for 3 hours. When we realized what had happened, we rushed out to the van and we found her there clinging to life. And we rushed her inside and we called 911 and we were trying to cool her down and things like that. But life changed.
If you think it cannot happen to you, you're wrong. I was one of those parents that did, and I made the mistake, the ultimate price. I was dropping him off first and then the baby, which was out of my routine for that week. Our son Bryce had had a really bad cold, so he was up all night, off and on. By that time, I was exhausted. He was very lethargic that morning. He was tired, and we think he fell asleep on the way to dropping Jared off. So I dropped Jared off, and then I got a phone call, so I immediately went into work mode. In the midst of all of that, drove right past where I would normally make a left to drop him off, because I had made a stop, and in my mind, like, baby's dropped off. So about 3:45, 3:50, she called me back, and she wanted to know how Bryce was. And I said, what do you mean, how Bryce is? And she goes, well, I just want to call and see how he's doing. And I was like, what do you mean, he's there with you? And she says, no. And she's beginning to panic. She goes, no, Lynn, you didn't drop him off this morning. And right then and there, my whole morning flashes before my eyes, and I'm like, I'm sure I dropped him off. I stopped what I was doing and I ran to the car, and that's when I found him. I couldn't believe that I could forget my own son and how that was possible. And the next thing I thought was, how am I going to tell my husband that I killed his son?
I mean, we have bells that remind us that we're low on gas, that we didn't buckle our seatbelt. Why not one to remind us that we've left our child in the car? For now, leave something you need, like your cell phone or your purse, in the back seat with your child, or put a doll or something in the front seat as a reminder that they're there. I'm a person who works in child passenger safety every single day. My husband, when our son was an infant, went to take him to daycare one day, went 7 miles past the daycare because it wasn't his routine, it was mine. Before he realized he had our son with him. He then turned around and went back, and we were saved. But it wasn't that far of a reach that he didn't go back. It can happen to anybody. It almost happened to us. It can happen to anyone.